Hello and welcome to the Procrastinator. My name is Jan and today we are playing EU4 as Pomerania. This is going to be a more boring episode than the previous one when we were at war, but we do need to rebuild our army and get our country back together like it's supposed to be. Now, between the last episode and this episode, I kind of decided we're not breaking the royal marriage with Brandenburg. Instead, we're going to break it with Thuringia. Thuringen. Doesn't matter. We're going to break the royal marriage with them. I don't really care that much about them. So, yeah. We are instead going to improve relations with a few people. Try to get Sweden on our side. And see how that goes for us. We're also going to try rebuilding the army. And we're talking about the two provinces! Yay! Italian engineers available. During the period of 14 to 1600s, Italian siege engineers were highly sought after to teach the ways of the Trans-Italien to the militaries of Europe. In most cases, these engineers had no national identity and simply worked for whoever could afford to pay them. We can gain 40 military power by losing 26.16 ducats, or decline his offer and lose some prestige. Our prestige is low, and we don't mind having more military power. Military power is good. We are also, while we wait for our manpower to recover, going to build a few more armories here and there, just so that we can speed up the creation of our army. When we decide to rebuild the army, once the manpower recovers to about 10,000, I'll start building infantry. Which we still need to check out, I remember that, right. We are at 10 combat with, the next one is going to be +2, so 12. I want to go up to 12, I don't think it's necessary at this moment, because our force limit is only 23, so that would allow 11 for other. We have to count out at least 3 cavalry. So that's 20, and we're going to bring it down by 10 with artillery, so... Oh, it's going to work. It's going to work out somehow. We'll figure it out. Anywho, talking about the recently acquired provinces, the first one being Niederlausitz. Or Lower Lusatia. And Oberlausitz, of course, being Upper Lusatia. I don't know why they call that way, but okay. Denmark is apparently fabricating claims on us. Was first conquered by the Saxon Count on the Pelagian Slavs, and then in 1018 with the Treaty of Bantzen, that kind of ended the Germano-Polish wars over the area. I know it's weird because it's over here and Poland was over here, but Greater Poland was a lot bigger than it is currently. Or is at the beginning of the game. Or is especially now after we've taken so much of it. But it gave parts of Niederlausitz to Poland, which was not really accepted by the Germans. No, Danes, you can't have military access. In 1031, the Holy Roman Emperor Conrad II then reconquered the German parts of Niederlausitz. And then in 1136, it became part of the House of Witten, which currently rule Thuringia and Saxony. Yeah, I think they also ruled Anhalt. Different branches, but they did. The French are in a war with Austria. The Austria is at war with a lot of people at the moment. They're not doing too great. Nah. Wait, Austria is our ally? No. We shouldn't laugh at their misfortune. Anywho, the House of Wettin owned Niederlausitz between 1136 and about 1303, when it was bought by the Brandenburgian part of the Ascanian Margraves. Plock is now considered part of our territory, which is fantastic. We're going to talk about Plock in a little bit. Now, after the Brandenburger part of the Ascanian Margraves died out in 1320, it was inherited with the rest of the House of Wittelsbach. The rest of the Brandenburg. It was inherited by the House of Wittelsbach, and then in 1367, Niederlausitz was sold off, which is where we find it at the beginning of the game, and which is where we took it from. Now, the next one, province we're going to talk about is going to be Breslau. We also took Breslau a few episodes back. That is why we are going to talk about it. Breslau, which the city of Breslau in Polish, if I am pronouncing this correctly, and I seriously hope I am, is called Wrocław, which I found interesting. Some of these names do have post-Germanic and Polish names, some don't. Like Plock doesn't have a German name. At least I couldn't find one. Right, Breslau, between 992 and 1202, changed hands between Bohemia and Poland more often than handshakes do. There was a lot of changing hands. And I don't really want to go into the details of it because it's seriously complicated and it's boring. It's basically Bohemia took it, then Poland took it, then Bohemia took it, and Poland took it. It's just there. Then during the fragmentation of Poland, which is, we'll talk about the fragmentation of Poland once I cover Poland, if I cover Poland. The fragmentation of Poland is a complicated matter. That's why I don't want to talk about it now, because I don't fully understand it and I don't want to share misinformation, which is quite likely I'm doing anyways, but too much misinformation is bad. Anywho, during the fragmentation of Poland, it became part of the Dutch, and then in 1335, it was, with most of Silesia, incorporated into Bohemia. And that's it about Breslau. Breslau being not that interesting, but more interesting than Kalisz. Kalisz, together with Posen, they elected General Starosta for Greater Poland, which, yay for them. But that's about where their interestingness ends. That's it for them, more or less. They are not the most interesting of nations. Interesting of provinces, not nations. What am I saying? They're not most interesting of provinces, as we learned with Posen. But it did have one, I wouldn't say interesting thing, but one thing happened to it that was slightly different, which is that in 1768, the north part of it was split off. I couldn't really find the reason, but it was split off into the Gniezno Voivodeship. And then in 1793, it was, together with Posen, integrated into Prussia. And that's about it. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Voivodeship began to exist in 1314. That's it. See? It's less interesting than Breslau is. And Breslau, the city of Breslau and the city of Kalisz have really interesting histories, but because we are not conquering cities and we're conquering the provinces, I can't talk about the city in particular as much. Unless you guys want me to, I can do that. I can talk about the city for an episode because it has so much interesting history. But unless you guys want me to, I won't, because it would just take too much time. If you guys want to hear about it, I will talk about it. Anywho, naive relative. A close member of the family of our ruler has proven utterly naive and keeps telling foreigners vital information publicly. This is technically treason, but executing a member of royalty might cause unrest. We can execute him, lose some admin power, or say he's a relative after all and gain national spy defense minus 25% for the next 10 years. We're going to execute him for treason. How dare he share our secrets publicly. Moving on to the next province, which is the last province, which is Plock. I was looking for information about the Duchy of Plock, or the County of Plock, or the Plock Voivodeship, but I couldn't find specific information on it. So instead of talking about Plock itself, I'm just going to cover the entirety of Mazovia. Right after we read this. The Pragmatic Sanction. The Pragmatic Sanction, solemnly ended by Emperor Charles VI on the 19th of April 1713, established the indivisibility of the Habsburg patrimony and ruled the order of succession by order on child even to a woman. This made Maria Theresa, born in 1717, the heir of the empire. The pragmatic sanction was recognized by Spain in 1725, confirmed in 1731, Russia in 1726, Prussia in 1728, the United Provinces in 1731, United Provinces being the Netherlands, Hanover in 1732, and the Holy Roman Empire, except Bavaria in 1732, and France then in 1738. Bavarian diffusion would lead to the War of the Austrian Succession. Stop trying to improve relations with Sweden, who would marry us, so we will marry them. Great! I know we have too many diplomatic relations again, but if we can get Sweden allied, that would be fantastic. There we go. Quickly get them on our side before someone else can. National decisions available. Pass suffrage and bishop act. Improve administration by authorizing suffrage and bishops to be appointed for episcopal responsibilities. National tax modifier goes down by 4%. That's okay. Instability cost modifier goes down by 8%. That's okay. Act of uniformity. Take further steps toward the unified church by enforcing church attendance and set the order of services and prayers to be used in the Book of Common Prayer. Missionary strength was 1%. We will take both. We have 13,000 people already. Now. Units. What a game. I really want to build units. What are you doing, game? Why are you being weird? Well then. That's interesting. No, we're not going to hire mercenaries. Into recruit regiments. Landsknecht. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 3 Schwarze Retiers. Did I put in 3? Yeah, I did. And we'll have our army leader soon. Which is perfectly fine. We have a free diplomat that arrived home from Sweden. Who doesn't hate us now? So we're in luck. We're going to improve relations with Moscow even though they are hostile towards us. Because we do want to get them on our side. At least try to get them on our side. Anywho, we're going to talk about the Duchy of Mazovia while our troops are being built. The Duchy of Mazovia existed between 1138 and 1526. Its life kind of began with the fragmentation of Poland. That's when it became independent. It was, of course, part of the Greater Poland before then, but claim fabrication goes down by 50%. Yes, we will do that. That was a bad idea, wasn't it? Doesn't matter. It became, yeah, during the fragmentation of Poland, it kind of became 50-man power in block. It became its own thing, and then it was reincorporated into Poland in 1526. Recuperated, what things am I saying? And that's not it. It has more history, I promise. During the it used to involve Kurmenland as well as Plock, Vishna, and something else. I think it was Lublin. It was Mazovian. I'm not quite sure. I'm honestly not sure at the moment. I'm rather not going to say anything stupid. But during the rule of Duke Conrad I, Cumberland went to the Teutons when he asked the Teuton help with Old Prussians. And payment was basically Plock, Kulmerland. I'm saying stupid things all around today, aren't I? But do we have improved relations with you? Yes, we do. Going to improve them a bit more. But after Poland was restored after the fragmentation, several years later, it still remained independent. Protestant Reformation happened in Sweden this time. We will, of course, become Protestant. We are Pomerania. It's just going to happen. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks. We are going to be Protestant, as will most likely be England. In some games Austria becomes Protestant, which is bizarre, but it does, and then forces everyone in the HRE to convert. Moving on. With Mazovia. In 1351, it then becomes a vassal of Poland. By then, it actually had two dukes at the time, which don't quite understand fully, but it had two dukes. So they both became vassals of Poland in 1351, and then when the last duke died in 1526, it was incorporated back into Poland and became a rightful part of Big Poland again. And that is it for the history of Mazovia. It didn't have any wars. It had some separation in between its parts, but it had several dukes. It was split up like there's no tomorrow. But that's basically it. Now, Vatican infiltration. Bribes are not an uncommon practice, and with the right amount of money, we could perhaps manage to influence a cardinal to infiltrate the religious order. We can instruct him to go forward, get a bit of money, gain a bit of papal influence, or let the matter drop and gain some prestige. We're going to go with the papal influence, because the papal state keeps stealing our cardinal. We're going to wait for the month to take over, so we have 10, so we can be ahead of them. Sweden accepted peace with Denmark. Denmark ceded Blekinge to Sweden, annul treaties with Brandenburg, and pay 52 ducats. Poland had a military alliance with Sweden, so did Bohemia. Denmark is now Protestant. As I said, once we start getting enough Protestant provinces, we will flip over. But at the moment, I don't think... There we go. The cardinal we just invested in became our cardinal. We now have 4 cardinals in the Curia. We are massively controlling the Curia at the moment. Let's see. We can start integrating in 1550. Not that long. For 34 years. They would be our ally. They wouldn't be our ally. We're going to put relations with you and improve relations with you. Yay! Sweden is big. Sweden is good. We like Sweden. That was basically it. What I had to talk about this episode. We're going to pause and wait for the episode to finish. I was considering what we could do next. Now, we don't have that much aggressive expansion. They would be our ally again. But that opinion of them is shit. We don't have that much aggressive expansion. I don't think we have any left with anyone after this, but we have a little bit left, but we could pound down on Poland again, who is now allied with Sweden. But only Sweden. We can figure out Sweden on our own, can't we? I think we can. Oh no, it's Saxony. We should let our manpower recover. What is our current mission though? Create an army for our nation. We have a new king. That was not expected. And I don't think I like him too much. Ulrich the First. What? He's a 420. It's not too good. It's not too good. We actually have enough income to get another dude, probably. We'll see after we finish building up our army, but... Our technology is going to suffer. Yeah, it will. It will suffer. I am not a fan. This king is 40. A noble from the house of von Habsburg succeeds to the throne. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I don't want a Habsburg as my king. As my ruler. As my overlord. Are we really that far ahead in tech? We are. We're doing good. I think it's good that we are ahead in tech. Portugal has a disputed succession while we're at it. Meneses. What? That's an interesting house. I've never seen a house like that. And I've been playing a lot lately. I've been playing a lot as Aragon. I'm actually having a let's play as Aragon while we paused. As Aragon, where I've now taken Burgos, Castilla, León, Madrid, and León out of Castile. I've inherited Naples. Our general died. I have the entirety of Tunisia at the beginning, and what Tripoli is. Started colonizing, doing incredible, and that's why I'm incredibly proud of that let's play. It's doing really, really well. We don't have a general at the moment, so need to hire a new one. Isn't it good? But that's basically it for this episode. We don't have any more time for this episode because we've reached the time limit. Just as our guy arrives home from Austria. That's it for this episode. Well, I talked what I wanted to talk about. If you guys want me to talk about something else, or if you guys have any particular questions about any historical events, no matter what period, no matter what country, no matter what area, if you want me to talk about something specific in history, or if you guys want me to talk about the area you live in an episode, let me know. I'll do some research. I'll try to find something interesting and I'll talk about it. It would make me incredibly happy if you guys would allow me to do that. Anything historical whatsoever, feel free to comment. Feel free to correct me if I made any mistakes. Feel free to suggest what we should do next with our nation, because honestly, I am not entirely sure what we should do next with our nation. And I am the king of our nation. So leave all of that in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time,